Anchors. It's what our lineups are built off of. Welcome everybody. I'm LeRoiStephon, and I'll be presenting to you my anchors in vlog format. I've got. If you don't know what anchors are, these are people that I'll be basically locking in and will be building my lineups around this week. Not necessarily always 100%, but it's always two or three people, or maybe even four sometimes. It all depends, that you could just plug in your lineups and play. And if those hit, you're gonna have a very good night. An accurate hedging strategy would lead you to taking your lineups and, even if you building it around four people, you're going to take those four people and mix and match them until you get it all right. But your anchors, usually you keep them solid because of the advantages they have over their opponents and their projected output in points. And these are the guys that I'm liking this weekend as anchors. Like, I don't feel any reason outside of potential optimal points where I won't have them in my lineup. So when I think about my anchors for the week, my number one anchor is going to be Alex Morono. I know safety is not something we like in GPPs, but he's so much better than his opponent. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a black belt in either Taekwondo or Karate. I forget which striking art he is a black belt in. He has every sort of technical advantage over Chaos Williams, who's coming in here on short notice. Morono was set to face Diego Lima, several levels above Chaos Williams in every way. Williams is 9-1 in his professional career. I believe he only has 4 or 5 wins over opponents with winning records. And the significance of their winning records is just, maybe it's just barely winning. He's a can crusher. Morono is a mid to high level. He's a pretty high level fighter in the UFC. He's only lost to really quality opponents. Nico Price TKO'd him. No shame in that. Nakamura beat him. No shame in losing grappling contest to Nakamura. And once super prospect Jordan Mean. So no shame in Morono's game. He's a middling UFC fighter, which is pretty high level these days. Chaos Williams doesn't belong here. That's my opinion. That's no offense to him or his camps, but I like Morono's output. I like everything about him, and that's why I'm going to be having lots of him this weekend, because I believe with the amount of advantages that he has over his opponent and the deficiencies that Williams has, I see him as a particularly sexy pivot off of John Jones, Shevchenko, and the artificial inflated ownership that Andrea Lee should draw at being a negative 365 and climbing favorite. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. I don't get why Andrea Lee is climbing as a favorite in a fight that'll probably go to a decision and is relatively easily matched. If she stubs her toe or there's anything that leads to her being less fast, less explosive, she might not win this fight. Like, Lauren Murphy she's a hype killer. And I don't like those odds on Andrea Lee. I don't understand it. I understand Shevchenko being the big favorite she is. I understand John Jones being the favorite he is. I do not understand Andrea Lee. Don't get it. I don't think she meets value in a win for sure. I've completely taken her off my playlist. But when I think about this $9,500 to $9,000 price range, I don't see Shevchenko being particularly high scoring against Holly Holm Jr., Kaylin Chukagian. I don't see Shevchenko landing lots of takedowns. Chukagian comes from a very good camp. She comes out of Frankie Edgar and those guys' camp. Corey, my boy Corey Anderson, all them. They all come out of the same camp. And I just don't believe that Chukagian is going to allow for Shevchenko to score a lot of points here. She just never does. Her fighting style and her takedown defense do not lend to her allowing her opponents to put up lots of points on her. She usually, if she loses, which she's only lost one fight or two to Carmouche and to Jessica Ai, is usually in a very close, very tedious decision. And I don't see Shevchenko it being close, but I do see it being tedious and Shevchenko having to work to where you really put the exclamation point on rounds. That should be they should stay pretty close. So I don't like Shevchenko as an anchor because I don't believe that she can meet I need 110 to 130 points at 9,500. Really about 120 to 130. That's what I'm looking for at that price range. John Jones, that's one guy I do like. And but he'll be super chalky at 60-some% ownership. And if he doesn't score a mess of points, like I said, somewhere between 110 and 130 points, which he has not been doing lately, he doesn't meet value. He's only scored over 110 points, what? Yeah, we got two instances where he scored more than 110 points. And at this price, that's really not very sexy at all. Especially with how many potential finishes and high-scoring fights we have on this card. I love John Jones. I love him as a cash game anchor. But in GPPs, and this is the GPP anchor show, I just am not into John Jones as an anchor because of how chalky he is and because of the quality of his opponent. The Devastator, Dominic Reyes, man. I mean, I just don't believe that he's going to be able to dominate this guy, man. Dominic Reyes is real. And I think it's going to be a typical John. And Dominic Reyes is tall, too. And John Jones has never been one to completely spark out or dominate fighters with a similar frame as himself because his style is more craft than it is magnificent efficiency and brutality. John Jones is a crafty genius in there. He's not a master boxer. He doesn't have the best combinations. He just has a lot of craft and tricks in there. Just a lot of natural talent or whatever. I don't know what it is, but that's, I'm just discussing people at this price range as potential anchors. If 60-some% of the field is going to be building their lineups or lineups will be built mostly around him, I'm going to try and pivot off and find other places. And Morono is a great place to where, I would love to see if he can score more than 100 points. And then at $9,100, it gives me a little more flexibility in my lineups. Also, if you discuss Derek Lewis, I think Derek Lewis is a great roster. But Latifi, he's definitely undersized. But I think he's skilled enough to where Lewis should be able to finish him with his lack of technical efficiency and his wrestling, So Morono is the only guy I like to dominate completely, one-sided dominate his opponent between $9,000 and $9,500. This is my argument for him. From a fight metric standpoint, I don't have a huge reason why. I guess I should be rostering Morono here. It's more based. His 4.42 strikes landed per minute is not necessarily that impressive. His takedown defense isn't necessarily that impressive. Not many people have tried to take him down. Just I guess Griffith took him down. B took him down. That is something that's a weakness of his, apparently. Not, but his jiu-jitsu usually gets him right back up. But Chaos Williams doesn't have the rest of the skill to really get this to the ground. I love Morono. He is my top anchor this weekend for the aforementioned reasons, just discussing people around him. Another anchor of mine, Austin Lingo. I believe Zalal is being brought. Now, this is an anchor where I just won't plug him in. Okay, I would have a little bit of his opponent because of the this is a debutante fight, and who knows what can happen. Lingo's been finishing scrubs off in the first round forever now. I don't know what Lingo can do past the first round or the first minute. I seen his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game off his back be very impressive in one of his older fights, and that convinced me he has grappling skills. So I'm not nervous, and from what I've seen in tape, grappling skills that are on a much higher level than Zalal. I saw him hit a really nice guillotine in an older fight on YouTube from his back. That really impressed me. It's a really impressive transition. But Zalal seems Lingo has vicious power, and he has the technical efficiency and know-how to apply that power. He throws real good combinations, has real good defense. This dude, I believe Zalal, who's lost how many of his last 2 out of 3 fights how many of his last 3 fights, he's taken 2 or 4 losses or something like that. Let me check real quick that Zalal's little record here. But when we look at the circumstances of this fight, it feels like Zalal is being brought in because he will stand and trade, okay? And he is a striker, and he's obviously not as talented as Austin Lingo. He's lost 2 out of his last 3 fights. Jose Mariscal dominated him on the ground. Matt Jones, wasn't able to find that one. But yeah, man, I don't even know if he was necessarily looking great in that fight against Jaime James Hernandez when he won by flying knee. This feels like, when I looked at the film, Austin Lingo felt superior technically on the feet. I also found some of his ground game. I would give him a superior grade there. A much higher level guard and everything. I don't think Zalal will be able to hold him down. I just don't. Zalal feels like a promotional opponent or a professional opponent here. That's what this feels like. That's what it looks like on the film. I know Austin Lingo is a debutante, but don't miss out on the points. He's just been melting dudes like Zalal left and right. I don't see any reason why he shouldn't melt Zalal. I think he finishes whether on the mat or standing. I think this Lingo kid is very impressive and contrarian. I would hedge it because he is a debutante a little bit. Zalal at $7,300. Anything can happen in these debutante fights, and I would be a little safe there. But Austin Lingo is somebody that I'm building my lineups around because I like his upside. And his ownership probably shouldn't surpass 30%. Derek Lewis should be higher owned. Juan Adams should be higher owned. Okay, I didn't discuss him much, but I don't see why. But Juan Adams should be coming in at look at that. He's a minus 250 favorite. I bet you Juan Adams is higher owned. So we got, but Juan Adams in my mind doesn't have a technical advantage over Justin Tafa that would lend to the ownership that Juan Adams has and Tafa doesn't. So I love Austin Lingo. He is an anchor of mine. He's somebody I'm building my lineups around. My last anchor for the week, these are people that I really find myself not getting off of. Journey Newson. I believe he has every technical advantage over Domingo Pilarte. I believe that his loss against Ricardo Ramos, he almost finished Ramos with that guillotine, is really stagnating his ownership and the hype around him. But he looked absolutely fabulous in that fight. I really liked what I saw from him on the feet, on the ground. Ricardo Ramos is absolutely a serious dude everywhere. And Newson almost finished him on short notice. Very impressive in my mind. Newson opened as a favorite, so he was the Vegas opening favorite and has dropped or has risen to a plus 110 underdog. I don't like that, but it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. I like it for DraftKings because that should keep his ownership low, but he has every technical advantage. Pilarte's one road to victory is getting this fight to the mat and dominating it there. If Ramos couldn't do it, I don't believe that. I don't believe Pilarte can. Pilarte is not as good as an athlete, not as good of a striker. He doesn't do anything as well as Ramos, and that's why I really love Journey Newson. Those are my anchors for this week. Those are the guys that I'll be building my lineups around. John Jones, you could throw him in there. I mean, you could throw him in there as an anchor candidate. But, yeah, those are my anchors of the week. Those are guys I'm building lineups around in the interest of winning a GPP. All right? You say, why Morono over Jones? I already discussed it. I think Shevchenko is a trap against Chukagian because Chukagian is Holly Holm Jr. Her fights do horrible from a daily fantasy sports perspective. But Morono is a pivot off of Jones because I think that Morono can surpass. I would rather take more chances in trying to get past that 100 something, or 100 to 110 point threshold with Morono than joining 60% of the field on a week where I think you'll have the dogs to do it, But yeah, these are the guys that I'm heavily built off of. I already discussed other guys in the podcast. I like Batista and I like Tafa, of course, but I gotta hedge those. Those are the guys. So Morono, Lingo, and Newson. Those are the guys I'm building my lineups around. Those are my focuses for this week, and some of my highest projected fighters on the week because of the circumstances. A fight that I'm definitely building around though. It's not an anchor. It's Juan Adams versus Justin. This is Justin Tafa. Yeah, for sure. I can't call Tafa or Adams anchors though. Those are my anchors: Morono, Lingo, and Newsom. Let's see how that goes.